Hello, Brewers fans. Welcome to American League Field for the Brewers 2023 season opener. I'm Kassidy Hill, joined here by J.R. Radcliffe. J.R., another season ready to get started here, but of course the Brewers played 2 games, coming in 2-1. I know you got to go to Chicago, so what are just your very quick first impressions after only 3 games of this team as they open today?
Well, opening day was not great. It was a rough game, but fortunately they were able to play 3 of them and won the last 2. A lot of great impact from players that are, I'm not even sure people thought were going to be on the team this year. Bryce Terang was a little surprised that he made the team out of camp. Opening day second baseman. He had a really good start to his career. First hit, first extra base hit, first stolen base, RBI, all of it. Joey Wiemer, a guy who was not here on opening day, got added to the roster. Luis Arias was injured, and he winds up is your starting right fielder at this point for the Milwaukee Brewers, with Brian Anderson moving to third. Wiemer had a couple big moments, including a double for his first career hit. So the kids are kind of where it's at right now. 3 rookies in the opening day in the home opener, along with Garrett Mitchell, who saw some time late last year. So that's an unusual spot. The Brewers have not often been in this place. You have to go back to 2005 to find any rookies in the starting lineup on opening day. Brewers did have that this year with Terang and then a couple more to boot. So this is an interesting component. We haven't really thought about this team as a young up and coming team, but now they kind of have some that are in that boat. So let's see where they go.
The kids are all right, as they say.
The
kids are all right. Going against today, though, a team that has one of the higher payrolls in the league, good, bad appearances on this Mets team. If you're the Brewers, what are you just kind of hoping to get out of it today and the series as a whole?
Yeah, in Major League Baseball, every game, doesn't matter if you're New York Mets spending $280 million or whatever. I think I'm way undershooting whatever their payroll number is, or the Brewers, who are a little more conservative in the 120 range. The Brewers could win a game. The Mets could win every single game. It doesn't really foretell anything at this stage of the season. For the Brewers, in my opinion, it really is about competing with the St. Louis Cardinals, the team that's going to be here later in the home. I really think one of those will win the Central, and that might be the only playoff spot available to a team in the Central. There's always a chance that they could sneak into a wild card spot. The Brewers will be in contention for that. It's really about staying with the Cardinals, and so if that means wins against the Mets, if it means wins against American League teams, the Orioles, the Rays, whoever else, everybody's on the schedule this year. It's a balanced schedule. It's a very new look, and so that's. They're going to have some wins against teams like the Mets, very good teams, but they're capable of that. They've done that for years, and so I don't think payroll comes into play yet. It's more the long-term picture as you look at where the Mets at the end of the Brewers at the end of the year and how much money you have to do with that. I think that's when we start talking about the payroll again. But they have a shot every single day, and they should win this series 2 out of 3 every time. The Brewers they can win. They are capable of winning every series that they get into.
What's the old saying? You win 50, you lose 50 is what you do with the other ones that make a difference?
That's right. Yep, that's absolutely right. So,
again, with the caveat that this is very on in the season, what do you kind of hope to get out of your bullpen if you're the Brewers in this series?
There's a lot of question marks there. There's a lot of just unknown uncertainty. You've got Devin Williams, who's at this point, everybody knows what he's called. Matt Bush is probably a setup guy, a guy who was traded for at the deadline last year. And a lot of guys that people, quite honestly, around the league have not heard of. Peter Strzelecki. We saw Yoel Payamps yesterday. Hobie Milner is a guy who's been here a couple of years, actually longer tenured players at this point. Still unknown. At this point, what you saw in Chicago was pretty good. They were steady. They weren't perfect, but they were. If they're able to do that, to hang in there, you can upgrade as the year goes on. Later in the season, trade deadline, that's an area, and the Brewers have done this almost every year, hammered that bullpen and gotten 2 or 3 new faces to really up what they already had. So if they can get a couple guys to, maybe Peter Strzelecki is that guy. If they can get a couple guys to emerge, they're reliable, and they can hang out until July. That's going to be a really good spot for them.
And then make maybe some of those midseason moves today.
Yeah, exactly.
As we said, this is home opener for the Brewers. Fans are starting to filter in here in front of us. We're about an hour away from first pitch. We heard a lot today about the upgrades that this stadium's going to have and that the fans are going to be able to experience as part of the park experience. As someone who spends a lot of time here, what are some of the upgrades you've noticed already? What are some things that maybe fans could look forward to this year?
Well, we're hearing it right now. The sound system is totally new, and it's completely different. I'll be honest with you. I think the sound system was kind of bad. It was bad in this ballpark. It was much better in other ballparks. So we're getting a different experience now. They worked put a lot of money into that. I do think some of the family-friendly stuff that they've implemented this year, like the Sunday Funday packages, I think are really smart. They've lost fans. It's a baseball-wide trend. But the Brewers, I think a little more than other teams, were impacted. Post-pandemic, we haven't seen that top 10 in baseball attendance back at the park yet. Some of that has to do with the team not being a powerhouse, although it's still very good. Some of it has to do with just pandemic, other factors. They do place more fun, just a more fun experience. The pace of play is going to have a lot to do with that. As this stadium ages, they're always going to do tweaks here and there. You'll notice a few things that are different, smaller things, but the system is number one. That's the thing people are really going to notice here this year.
You mentioned the pace of play. The new rules it feels lightning fast now. Games are averaging around like 2:38 through opening week. I want to get your I don't want to call it a gambling prop bet because I don't know if we're allowed to say that, but your over-under on what the game today will be for opener here for the Brewers.
The over-under at 245, that's a fair spot. I'm hoping for the under. I have to admit, I agreed I could pick up my son at 5 o'clock today.
That was bold.
It was bold. It's something that I would never have done in past. You see, yesterday, Sunday, every game was under 3 hours except for one that was 14-10, and that was 3:06. It's
14-10 game. You're willing to take 3:06
hours, right? Yeah, 3:06 is great for a 14-10 game. So I think, all the games are going to be under 3 hours now. People are not going to have to spend, and I think of that because as somebody who has kids, that's really hard. You come to the game and you hope to get into the sixth inning because my kids aren't like babies. They're young enough where you can't stay later than 9 o'clock. That's impossible. Well, now, especially with games starting at 6:40, like tomorrow night's game, there's a chance everybody's out of here at 9 o'clock. And, that's still pretty optimistic, but nice to go deeper in the game. I think people are really, especially people with families, they're really going to love that. It is a completely changed environment. The action moves a lot faster. It's completely noticeable, and I think fans are going to love it right off the bat.
Well, we're rooting for under 3 today. As we said, first pitch 1:10 between the Brewers and the Mets in their home opening series for the 2023 season. We will have wall-to-wall coverage on JS Online. JR, we have like 10 people here, I think.
Is that 10 people you mean in the stands or in the?
No, I'm sorry. And the press box from Journal-Sentinel.
Yeah, we are well represented, which is good because if I need to leave to get, I need somebody to fill in for me. So that's good. Yeah, we got blanket coverage, jsonline.com. There's a lot going on there. I'll be doing the live blog all game long. You can find that. You can find it from Todd Rosiak and Kurt Hogue. Obviously, Kassidy's here. Hannah Kirby on Instagram. If you find Journal-Sentinel on Instagram, we've got a full blanket coverage. It's gonna be a fun day.
As you said, wall-to-wall coverage, and then sure to catch the recap on JR's Micro Brew podcast that you can find anywhere you get podcasts. JR, thanks so much for joining. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.